Yes. So, this episode is brought to you by a fucking idiot whose name is me. I started this um and got 10, 15 minutes in and realized it wasn't recording for who knows what reason. And really, who cares? Uh Took about 20 minutes to kind of decompress from how fucking annoying all that was. Now we're back. God, man, I need this thing to get better in terms of how much money it's making so I can fucking hire someone to do all this for me in terms of running the technical shit. God damn it. Or just some volunteer. um anyhow. Um this will be a quick one. This is sort of like a I should have done this earlier and just start the thing you want to start episode. And it's basically about this whole tour I did. I was waiting until I could get on the road. When are things going to open? So on and so forth. And one thing I learned from the tour that Rory Scovel and I did, where we followed Tool around, was do it yourself. Find the venues you like. Do it for reasons that don't even necessarily have to make a lot of sense, and just have fun and be happy with the end results, which luckily for us were life changing. um, so I kind of had the same idea here. I said I want the world to reopen and I need to get back on the road. I need to build a new hour, and which I hate that phrase, then my new hour, the new hour. Just build a new chunk of material that's eventually going to go on an album or a special. In this case, a special. And you kind of get overwhelmed with all the stuff. You're like, I have to write and tour, and then how am I going to tape it and self finance it, and like, all this stuff. And then you have to just slow it down and go, break it up into digestible chunks and tackle each thing one at a time. And it's part of the reason I admire all the younger like YouTube TikToker type people who are doing all these like things, these multifaceted sort of entertainment people in ways that we kind of haven't had since, the 40s, 50s, 60s, where everyone was like multifaceted in terms of like acting, singing, dancing, comedy, like all they did a bunch of stuff. And up until, social media, YouTube, it was just like people did the one thing for the most part. And now, if you're going to get into entertainment, you have to be able to do it, but you have to know how to like shoot things and edit and sort of like act in these videos and be funny and serious and market yourself. And it's, you got to do it all. And in a sense, you've always kind of had to do it all, but there was just less to do because we didn't have to have video know-how and all this shit. But anyway, you do it, and it kind of make like I've learned so much from like figuring out like video lighting, editing, and it's been great. No complaints. And the same goes for this tour. And this is essentially for anybody that's like, I want to try that, and or it mean that meaning whatever it is, you just do the step one and then go from there. And sometimes you can't, most of the time you can't figure it out before you start. You can't, there's no amount of planning and blueprints and storyboarding and guides. Sometimes you just have to fucking start, and then the other things will fall in the line and you'll get the answers to the questions down the line. The answers to step 15 sometimes appear in step 2, 3, 4, 5, as opposed to sitting there at step 0. Um, so I did that with this tour. I was like, okay, what's first? First is find cities that I genuinely want to go to. So if I'm going to go places where I'm not going to work clubs and places where I probably won't make the money I want, at least the experience will be good. And maybe I can link, like route a few venues together. And then enjoy the places I'm in, even if it's for a day or two. So I'm like, what's going to get me to want to live through a tour like this? So I picked cities that I've already been to, where I have, fans and stuff, people that'll come out, like Houston, Austin, San Francisco. Um, and then I was like, okay, well, let's find places that I've always wanted to go to, or places that I think will be challenging in terms of like the audience and stuff. Because I'm not a fucking broy bro dudes this and fucking chicks or whatever kind of comic. So, Mobile, Alabama, and Lafayette, Louisiana, Bryan, Texas, Dubuque, Iowa. I've never been to any of these places, and they have like college town vibes, but it's not going to be an Austin, Texas, or a San Francisco, or a Burlington, Vermont. You're going to have to work a little more and be maybe surprised how certain material's not going to get the reaction. The shit that makes you a better comic. So that was the that was the outlook. Make it challenging, make it fun, make it new, make it all the things I haven't been able to do for the last couple of years during the worst parts of this pandemic. And once I had that down, and it was just a matter of sending out the first text or email and just piecing it together, then you're like, well, I've already started and I can't stop now. I got to keep going. And fortunately for me, there were most of these venues were already like, oh, we know who you are. We've heard of you. We'd like to work with you. So I am fortunate in that sense. I know it's not going to be like easy to, and some of these weren't easy in that way, where people were like, oh, I'm not really familiar with you. And you had to kind of work a little more to get in, or get the dates that you want, or get some references and stuff. But again, it's just go push forward, keep going, and like figure it out, as opposed to sit there at step zero and wait for it to be figured out for you. And I'm reminding myself here, because I've done this a lot and I've waited a lot. And one of the things I look back on, and I never look back like, oh, I regret that. I just look back with like, how am I not going to do that going forward? And the answer was by doing it. And whatever the results are the fucking results. And you just go, you just go. And that's what I did with this thing. And as it started to come together, more and more cities sort of started to appear, because I was looking at other ones, and then I just started linking. So it started with like 5 or 6 cities, ended up being 16 or 17. And now I have like a bunch of stuff in March, which I was trying to just bump up into February and just keep it going. But now I'm just going to give myself 2 weeks off, and then head back out in March and just make it the second leg, or the fucking spring. I don't even know what to call it or what to necessarily do with it, but you're already going. So your fucking brain's already like thinking and figuring it out. So yeah, beginning of March, I'll be in Denver, Colorado, and then Boulder, Colorado, and then Minneapolis, Minnesota, which I've never been to. I've never done stand up there, and it's one of those cities that's eluded me for years. And it's because I was waiting to do Acme one day, or something like that. But that's not the way it is anymore, man. It is. There are awesome indie venues that either do music or straight comedy, and they're not the known comedy club venues. And for a long time, I was like, oh, well, I don't want to do that, because it was unknown and difficult in terms of what's going to happen. But these days, I mean, the answers are just a fucking text message or Google search away. You can figure out exactly what you're getting into without just going blind into something where you're not going to get paid, or ripped off, or the place didn't promote, no one's there. Um, in most of these cases, in most of these cities, I made out better than had I done the comedy club. And it's hard to kind of believe, I think, but there's some of these comedy clubs, like these improvs and stuff. pay less for a whole weekend than you could make in a night at some of these indie venues because they're either run by comics or by people that fucking give a fuck and want to fill the room and want to get their name out too as a venue. And I'm looking at my tour poster that I put in front of me to see. So Houston, Texas, the Riot HTX is the name of that show. It's run by two dudes who are comics who want to open a comedy club, and fucking that's what they did. They found a venue that does music primarily, so it's set up for live stuff, has a cool independent music venue feel, and they just started doing comedy shows. And I went in there and did one night and left with more than I would have gotten paid if I did the Houston Improv for a one nighter based on what their base standard, whatever that even is nowadays. Doesn't matter what it is. This independent venue is better. Um, Jerome, Arizona, obviously that was the poster for store. It was a fucking fantastic, amazing experience, unlike any other. It was too good. It almost you can't even count it among the ones that are primarily comedy, but it was awesome. Um, San Francisco, the Punchline, I'll always play that no matter what. The Comedy Barn, Dubuque, great venue. It's in a cool place in downtown Dubuque. They treat you well. It's fun. Um, Lafayette, Louisiana. Uh, that's like a indoor outdoor venue, a part of this like big like kind of beer garden area with all these different things. They run a proper show. Sound system's awesome. They got a great stage, a good audience turns out. It's run by excellent people, and it was fun. And the city is cool. There's a lot of good food. I went to Bon Temps Grill, but BON space TEMPS. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. Um, awesome, awesome food. I ate fucking delicious food, did the show, and then kept going to Austin, Creek in the Cave. An awesome, awesome venue. They started out in New York, and then she moved everything to Austin. And the venue's rad, dude. It was a great. I did one night, and that was the thing with this too. I was like, don't not going to look for weekends necessarily because I just want to get in and out. And if it's easier to get in to do one night, fine. I don't mind doing 3 nights in a row in three different cities because it varies the experience and it's different. It's different than I've done it in the past. And that was the most important part. That was like the driving force. Um, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, another awesome college town. Uh, the guy that ran the show is all about the comedy. He's all about getting the crowd out there. He's about putting a good show on and being straightforward and honest about the price and the venue and like all this stuff. And I'm like, every one of these gigs I left, I was like, I will do this again just because the experience was so great. I can't even say that for half the fucking comedy clubs I've played in the past, you know? They don't, they just don't care. They'll book anything that'll fill the seats and anything else that's like quality, but maybe won't. They don't want to have anything to do with it. And I've experienced it over the year. It's not just it's been once or twice. And I'm good. I know what I'm doing. And it's you're not gonna have a problem with that part of it. But they they're not in it for any level of risk. But um these smaller independent venues, I mean, they're taking the risk too, but they're like, if we put on a good quality show, we'll get people and we'll be fine. And that's something those bigger venues don't even want to think about. They just don't even want to entertain the risk. And fuck them. Not even in a bad way, but just fuck them because all right, you're gonna have some good, weekends. Obviously, it's good comics that play like the bigger clubs, but it could be better. Um, Asheville was the last one. I skipped over a few, but I'm just the ones that really, really stood out. Asheville was the last one, and I was so excited about that because I'd never been to the city, and everyone's always like, "Oh, that's fucking if you took your fucking brain and made it into a city." And I was, it's like outdoorsy. It's got like hip coffee shops, and everyone's fucking dressed cool in this cool vintage stores, and it just has that sort of vibe, like a Austin, Texas, Portland, Burlington sort of college town hipstery. Um, and God, it was. There was good food. Model Face Comedy is who I did the show through, and talk about lovers of comedy that want to make a great show happen. And it shows all over town, and it was so much fun, man. It like this whole tour, all 15, 16 cities or whatever, made me feel like I thought comedy was gonna be like when I first started back in 1897. No, back in the beginning of the fucking millennium, 2001, 2, 3. Um, that's kind of what I thought it would be, and you're doing these. I remember reading a story about George Carlin years ago, and there were these people that were recounting an experience they had watching him, and it was like somewhere in like Arizona or New Mexico, and they were watching him working on his new chunk of material in like some kind of hippie, cool, counterculture like coffee shop somewhere where it was like him and like 50 people, and he was just like coming through town doing the gig and leaving, and I just was like, that's so cool. And then obviously, it got bigger and bigger and better. But I'm sure even then he didn't have to do that gig, and it sort of gave me that feeling I needed to like to have the momentum to get through it. And I was like, make it feel like you're a kid again, And I literally started when I was a kid, um, and that was the whole idea. The whole idea was have fun, make it feel new and different and challenging. As long as your mind is feeling these things, you're gonna want to get up early and take the flight, and with the connection, because the city's small enough to where it doesn't have any direct flights, like all those annoying things that would normally get to you. I was fine with it. And this whole set I'm working on has been getting better and more refined. And as that's gone on, then my mind started going, okay, now I have a better idea of when I want to tape this thing. When I was at step zero, and why would I know the answer? I didn't even have a 50 to 70 minutes ready for it. So now I'm like, okay, we're going to like block out this chunk of time, and we're going to shoot it here. And then we got to start piecing together all these things. Um, and I don't have any complaints about it. And that's rare. I complain a lot about a lot of shit. Um, so yeah, I'm back. I'm back out there in March, and I am gonna keep sort of finding. There's always going to be more and more, cities where it's like, well, what's that like? Let's go there. Let's try that. Um, and hopefully the special will come out and be something, be and change the course of what all this has, you know, been leading to. Um, but yeah, I haven't been able to do. Oh yeah, I got my fucking nails painted. Fuck you. I get these ones done. So people go, "You get your nails done?" I go, "Yeah." Like a fucking 15-year-old goth kid. Honestly, I don't do more because it's my fucking hands are always in like my raw denim jeans, and it just falls apart, and it ends up not being like, it's more annoying than it's worth. So what was I saying? Fuck, I got distracted. I don't remember. Probably wasn't important. Uh had to do with this special. I don't remember. A coffee shop I really like, by the way, in Eau Claire. Shift Coffee and Cycling. I already forgot the name of it. Coffee and Cyclery and Coffee. It is like my dream fucking place. It's a bike shop and a coffee bar in one. And it's great. I went every day, and the coffee was awesome. Also, Summit Coffee Roasters in Asheville was another standout. The location's beautiful, and the coffee was great. Coffee is one of those things, by the way, where if you're in my Patreon and you have access to the Discord, there's a section in there for just that. And you can ask me anything you want, and I'll recommend anything you want. I am there to help you with that. Only if you're in my Patreon. Don't fucking hit me up on Instagram with, I stopped answering questions to fucking anybody. I got to budget my time a little better. So you give me something, I give you something. That's the way it works. So, but anyway, Shift is great. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I was going to record on the road and do these podcasts, but I'm going to be honest, man, like it's to do just audio, you can, but to do video, it's a lot of the hotels and all that kind of stuff and Airbnbs, they don't have the Wi-Fi capable to do a streaming. It wouldn't have been worth it. So either I got to figure something else out for that, or maybe just do audio, or just say like, hey, while I'm gone for a week and a half, it's just not gonna happen. So um but anyhow, I'm here now for like a couple of weeks, or I have no idea. And I just want to fucking chill. I want to like practice my, where is it? My guitar right there. Um, and write and just fucking just hang out and do more of these and really fucking there's going to be a relationship episode, just stuff involving that this week or next. I'm because I want to try and get a guest for it. There'll be a Patreon only episode, um, and I think that's it. But the other thing I need to tell you guys about is in my ongoing endless pursuit to come up with merch that you don't see anywhere else and it's easy to travel with. I made bookmarks. I didn't make them. Vampy Illustrations, the brilliant art and design of Vampy Illustrations, made these. So this is a bookmark, so the word nerd will stick out right over the top, as if it's an insult. And then at the bottom, ATNY strikes back. It's really dumb, but that's the point. So this, and then this one, which is if you are from California, or you remember, these are like the vintage, uh, like in the 80s or 90s license plates. I've always loved the fucking design. So what I did was I I had my birth year just put there, and then the name of the podcast, and then there's this dumb bookmark, not bookmark, sorry, license plate frame things. My other blank is a blank. So on this one it says my other book is a Kindle. Um, and then I did a sticker version too. So you're gonna get and this one says my other car is a bicycle. Um, so you want to help out, support, you get these. Two for $5 on the website. And then for now, you'll get one of these too if you buy one. Also the tour posters, since that leg is done and a lot of those dates were, god damn it, this thing will not come out. I'm about to fucking break something. Okay. These are now $10 on the website, all those dates. So if you were at one of those shows and didn't get one, there you go. Hold on. Hold on. Here we go. It's a great poster, man. I'm really proud of how it came out. Um, Senorita underscore ugly is responsible for the awesome design here. Get one now. There are not a lot left, and there will never be any more made ever again. So $10. So basically $10 and then another five right here gets you those and that shipped to your door. Um, and the shipping will be all, one because that'll all fit in one thing. But anyway, for those who wanna support, um, that's how. And I love the bookmarks. I think they're fucking great, especially this one. This is awesome. And these will be on the merch table too if you come see me in uh, Colorado, Denver, Boulder, then Minneapolis, then Davenport, Iowa is the other one, and then more to come. So stay tuned, nickyoussef.com for any updates on any of that, the merch stuff, live dates, and thanks for your patience. I think that's it. Let's rest. Let's rest our weary heads. I'll see you guys, I think, tomorrow.
It's the end of the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. Don't be a dear.